So Monique, we're talking about breakups and what are like the gifts that you get from breakups. And one of
I
the
like
things,
that way of looking at it.
So one of the things is that you get very clear about what is the relationship that you want, and to take your focus off from the person you're having the relationship with, in the sense of you and them are creating something like a little baby, and that baby that you're creating, which is actually the relationship, what does that feel like in that, or you're creating this bubble, what does that feel like? Does it feel good or not? So what is the other thing that you noticed? What was the other gift that you feel a breakup brought you? And while you think about it, I'm gonna talk about mine. I think what it showed me is it really pointed me to looking at how my childhood experiences and emotional experiences, a lot of that I suppressed, because as a child you don't know how to process your emotions.
Yeah.
And so the experiences that I had with my parents and in my upbringing, my childhood, it's interesting to see how that impacts on the people you choose to have relationships with. Because we think that we attract people, that the people that we have relationships with, we think that those are the people we attracted, but we attract all sorts of people, and then we accept. Who are we accepting? So there were a lot of really nice guys that showed interest, and then I wasn't interested because I wasn't attracted to them, because I had emotional processing that needed to be done, and life was going to put someone in front of me that was going to trigger that, so that that healing could happen.
Yeah.
So that is looking at it from like a
Metaphysical.
Or from an objective perspective. But when you're going through it, it's not fun at all, of course. There's no fun in it at all. So one of the things that I experienced with my parents, and this is just my perspective, this is not necessarily subjectively, objectively what happened, but my experience of it was I felt neglected, I felt abandoned, I felt there were experiences that gave rise to that.
Yeah.
And they weren't even like big deal of stuff, but for me,
It was just like a triggering thing
yeah,
for you, because
I had that experience, and I didn't know how to process it, and it became suppressed. And so those things were still there. So things like abandonment, neglect, feeling insignificant, and I think these are universal things.
Yeah, like just to varying degrees.
Yeah. So with my first relationships, and this is why I got divorced, is your father was like my first boyfriend, and so it would be in that first relationship that probably a lot of that came out. So when I got married, and in that relationship, I'd heard of how your childhood will impact your life experience, but I just thought, no, that doesn't apply to me. And yeah, I was in the relationship that brought up all those things for
Like
me.
with the pride before the fall thing.
Yeah. Not even that, you're so young and inexperienced, totally unaware. You don't even know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So those were the things that played out for me. I would choose partners where I felt a lot of feelings of abandonment with them. They would do things that made me feel abandoned. They would do things that made me feel neglected. They would do things that made me feel unsupported. They would do things that made me feel insignificant.
I think, yeah, that was a lot of the same things I also was going through with that first breakup. Like, that's how it felt, obviously.
With the relationship. That's what leads to the breakup, obviously, because you're unhappy in the relationship. And then you just get to a point, it's like, I don't want to deal with it. You know?
Yeah, it's like, it's too much now.
Yeah. So I had to do this for a lot of years compared to, I don't know what it's going to be like for you, in order to actually realize that I am busy working through my stuff. And as I was working through my stuff and releasing it, that's when better experiences started showing up, and better and better and better, and now of course I'm remarried. But even when you remarry, even when you get into your new marriage, you're always having things that you are not aware of that needs to be brought to your attention. And I'll share now what is some of the great things that's come out of all of that dating and learning about things that I need to process. What are some of the gifts that brought me? But what was it for you? Let's first talk about what was it like for you in terms of in the relationship? Could you also do that correlation of, because your father wasn't much in your life?
Oh, you mean like that? Yeah, definitely. Like, it was like little things that just kind of pop up, that make you think of that or feel how you felt, back, like you say, with any experiences that I had with my father, like the things that were feeling abandoned and those kind of things.
Like you would say he's going to fetch you, and then you guys are waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah,
and
like
it
that's
doesn't
something that's still that still bothers me a lot. Like I'm better at communicating that now, but yeah, it was something that actually bothered me a lot, and I did have experiences like that as well, where I specifically said, like I don't like this, but then they kind of just kept doing it anyway. So I was like, you can just see they're not listening to you, you don't feel heard, which is another thing. But yeah, it was a lot of the similar things, like you say, the abandonment thing and like not feeling important and those kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was pretty similar. Obviously not to the extent that yours was, because
I was married.
Yeah, married, which is.
And I just want to say that this is my perspective of things.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be bad mouthing the other person. It's just a matter of.
That's how I was feeling in the.
Yeah.
That's just how I was feeling.
But what was great about it is, as I then later got more into studying the psychology of it, and then now I'm a certified hypnotherapist and life coach. With working with clients, with myself, my own things, what later came from that is the valuable understanding and wisdom that person and those experiences was just pointing to how I was abandoning myself, neglecting myself, looking at myself as not enough, as insignificant, etc. And that in order for experiences to change on the outside, I had to change it from the inside. And it's when I started little by little getting more awareness around that and starting to, how do you say that? And starting to
work through your...
Yeah, not comply it, not imply it, but...
What do you mean?
Apply it.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but that was what I was expecting.
The knowledge, the wisdom, with the application of it, you see how things shift around you. Yeah. Then that people don't even come around you anymore.
It's like they can't even be in the same space as you because you're not in a place that would align.
You don't match.
Yeah.
So that's when you started understanding the whole thing about energy and frequencies, and how you cannot, if you have those kind of issues, you're going to bring people into your life that's going to give you those, that's going to facilitate those kind of experiences. And they are gifts. It doesn't feel like it, but they are gifts to show you the stuff that you need to work on.
It's like that thing, life doesn't happen to me, it's happening for me. And like you say, a lot of things, it's just more so that you can learn and like maybe process things that you haven't processed. It's never a thing of, like it's just trying to like push you down or something. That's not what's happening. It's more so you can like learn and overcome those difficulties. Because when you do things, like you say, they kind of flow better, and like you obviously attract more people and things that you actually do want.
So I do understand that for a lot of us, we need support in working through those suppressed emotions, in working through those emotional charges. So please check my programs in the link to help you with that. So the thing about overcoming, I just wanna sort of speak to that. I feel that it's not about experiences having to overcome experiences, because we just spoke about the thing about the frequencies. It's really about growing awareness as to why this is happening, and then just changing your frequency. So it's not like you have to even it's like a hurdle and you're jumping over it. No, it's a matter of you're changing the frequency, so that you can actually match up to what it is that you want. You want to be with someone that is a reflection of, you know you're enough, you know you're important, that supports you, etc., etc. So you may not get there perfectly, but the point is to have that awareness. So for me, it's not so much about overcoming obstacles, so much as it is you place the obstacles there, and when you tune into a different frequency, those obstacles are automatically falls out of your.
Oh yeah, I just meant more in terms of the like dissolving the
I agree with you.
Kind of.
I just
Not
wanted
frequency,
to
dissolving the blocks or whatever you call it.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying a lot of times people think, because if you look at an obstacle, it's like it's an effort to over it, or it's like a pushing. So I don't want it to give that kind of image.
Yeah.
I want to give the image of, it's as simple as you dialing your radio to a different frequency, and now, or your TV, you're changing it to a different channel, and now different pictures can show up.
That does sound a lot easier.
Yes, so I'm just trying to create that picture for
I see.
people so they can see that.